Next will be Michael Fielding, followed by Takaya Anthony.
Good evening, esteemed members of the board. My name is Michael Fielding, founder of the Free Academy. We are a group of students/teachers with the great privilege to study life and liberty outside the confines of state accreditation. I graduated valedictorian from Katy High School in 2008, and I'd love to tell you about my experience at Katy ISD and what I've been up to since then. I actually stood before the board once before to explain my perspective. When I was in 5th grade, the district was rezoning, and I learned that I might lose half my friends. Spending time with friends was the only redeeming quality of school for me, so I started a petition and gathered some 100 or so signatures of parents and students who wished to remain together, but our efforts were in vain. I was sent to Seco Ranch Junior High against my will. During the many hours of excruciating boredom, I thought deeply about my situation. I was incarcerated. At 11 years old, without having committed a crime, I was in lockup. Actually, it's worse than that. I was being forced to work against my will, without compensation, in a place that I wasn't allowed to leave. There's a word for that, you know. If nothing else, I learned patience. Thankfully, I have great parents from whom I learned secure attachment, determination, and the ability to teach myself anything. I realized I didn't need anyone standing between me and the information that I naturally craved. In fact, being held captive and graded on my ability to memorize things that I didn't care about was extremely inconvenient. Luckily, my family got the internet when I was reasonably young, and I took the reins of my own education before too much damage was done. Another thing I learned from my parents is personal responsibility. I may not be able to free all the children you imprison, but at least I can withdraw my funding. You don't make it easy, though. For the past 17 years, I've lived creatively to avoid funding your education system via property tax, or as I call it, the troll toll. I have lived on sailboats, I've lived out of trucks, I've lived on trampolines and treehouses, tents, a cave, a carport, a trailer, a motorhome, and twice I purchased cheap land with value below the homestead exemption. I learned a lot from all these adventures, so I must express my gratitude. Since you're all so fond of unsolicited advice, here's some to take home. I think you each need to take a long, hard look in the mirror, atone for your sins, and then ask ChatGPT to help you write a letter of resignation. It is unacceptable to extort your community to fund the involuntary indoctrination of children by threatening to take their homes away unless they pay you. What you do to children is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever witnessed. At no point in your rambling, incoherent education were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone who went through it is now dumber for having listened to you. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Thank you. Takaya Anthony, followed by George Scott.